Let's go short. This might be my party, so if I want to, I'm passing around the block too. I know that you won't be. You've been all up on me. I like that you need me. Maybe you can give me satisfaction. I need some satisfaction.
Am I here? Am I here? Am I here? What is up, everybody? Happy Friday, Junior. That's Thursday. I'm so excited to be here. Welcome to another Adult Table, the We Are Celebrating edition. It was Juneteenth this week, Monday, a crazy week. You know, hot take. My hot take on Juneteenth is that, I think it should be, it is a celebration. Obviously, we're celebrating the resilience of our ancestors and all of that good stuff. But we're also, remembering and acknowledging something very ugly in American history, which is that there were people who were not following federal law, and U.S. Marshals had to go down to Texas to tell them, "Hey guys, you need to free your slaves." So I don't know. I've been brainstorming different ideas, different ways that we could also acknowledge that. In addition to, of course, our celebration, which I was excited to be a part of a Juneteenth celebration at Soho House this past week. That was on Friday. Just acknowledging people that do a lot of stuff for the culture. So shout out to Octavia Yearwood for my acknowledgement and to all the honorees. And she gave us all the gift of rest, because rest is revolutionary and it's imminent to all our success. As hard as we work, you do have to also make sure you take that time to rest, which some of us don't always do. So I appreciate Octavia giving some of us the gift of rest. So much, much appreciated. So it's just been a busy week working on Anaya Upshaw's case, which we talked about in the last episode. She is a student who just graduated from Mass Academy, and she came forward with a bunch of her classmates to talk about and file a complaint against the school, listing a number of racist acts that students and staff members have taken against her. Shortly after, the same day we had the press conference, the county, actually Miami-Dade schools, announced that they were going to go ahead and suspend the teacher. Today, I found out that he retired, which is good and bad. Sometimes teachers can retire and they can still go back and work at charter schools or do other things. So he's just one of the teachers as well. Obviously, the school has a bigger issue than just these individual educators, but it's good news. It's a silver lining. We're still pushing. We keep pushing because that's what we do. It's the most important work of our time. Still working on Shanquilla's case. Still putting pressure on the State Department and still having those conversations to push forward and get the State Department to prioritize Shanquilla Robinson's case. So I appreciate everybody who follows me to get updates on the case. I appreciate you guys. Keep contacting the State Department. I will work on a slide and post in the community post with the specific people that you should contact. I'll probably do that tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. So I'm excited. I have some cool guests, some exciting guests, some very dope adults that I'm excited to talk to tonight. And we have a lot to get through. So make sure you're liking on your way in, subscribing and sharing. I appreciate you all. As you know, we're over 1,000. We're going for our 5,000 mark. So I appreciate you guys so much for checking in, for liking, for sharing the post, for being the adult that you are. I cannot see the chat at the moment, but when I do, I will definitely be giving my faves shout outs as I see you guys come in. So I appreciate you guys. All right. So I'm going to bring in my first guest. Very excited to have this guest here because usually I have Mr. Welbeck here. But tonight we have a very, very, very special honor to have Mrs. Welbeck in the house. So I'm excited about that. Rashida Welbeck, the woman, the myth, the legend, because she's the only other person that gets that introduction aside from her husband. Because
Wow. I feel so honored, Esquire Robinson.
thank you for being here. The honor is all ours. We're all adults here. That's why we're here. And I like the part in your bio that says you have you facilitate courageous conversations addressing race and social justice. I love that.
Yes.
Courageous
For a long
conversation.
time. That's been something I've just had the opportunity to really lean into for years and years, and keep finding those opportunities because those are so important.
Yep. And we definitely appreciate you. You know, we appreciate the Welbecks around here. So we love it. I'm very glad to have you here. And since you're here in the top part, I have to ask you, big year Tupac.
The year, he said, the year,
It's a mandatory question.
the year Tupac,
Biggie or Tupac?
Oh, Biggie or Tupac. Oh,
yeah, Biggie
Tupac.
Or Tupac. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm just excited, so I'm talking fast. I'm sorry.
It's Tupac for me, even though I was born in New York, spent time in Brooklyn, but it's Tupac for me for multiple
It's Tupac.
reasons. Yes.
Okay.
It's
California.
it's a holistic picture, not the narrow view.
Oh, okay. Because he's more like tackling social justice issues and stuff like that. You feel like?
Yeah, and just so multidimensional and complex and passionate and authentic.
Okay. Tupac it is. Tupac it is. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into the what the bleep persons of the week. Hey Blondie, thanks for being here. So in a Macomb County former police officer, Matthew Rodriguez, has been charged with assault for essentially beating someone who was in custody. And it was caught on camera.
Oh my Lord.
I think they have a video here. It's a situation where one, it makes my stomach turn because I think of all the people that he probably has assaulted and there was no cameras around.
Yeah. That's horrible.
I immediately think of those people and I'm like, damn. Because he's like a 14-year veteran. He's not a new officer that was confused. He's a 14-year veteran. So that's crazy.
Yeah. This is happening far too frequent. It's far too common of a story and not enough done to prevent situations like that from continuing.
Yeah, well, I whenever I see it, I'm always like, if the police were an actual product and found to be so faulty, it would already have been taken off our shelves. Look at this.
And then it just makes you wonder what inside of him is motivating that kind of behavior. What kind of hate, what kind of disregard for life, really, for the humanity of that man that he, treated worse than people treat their animals. It's like, what is going on?
Right. I mean, he's out on $5,000 bond right now, and he has been suspended without pay. But it's like, again, my heart goes out to this person. Like, wow.
Unbelievable.
Again, unarmed, in custody already. It's not like he's escaping or going somewhere. Rodriguez's story is that they were exchanging words, but we've seen this before. It's like, why can't they hire officers that know how to de-escalate? Like, even if someone's in custody and they're saying something inappropriate, then why don't you know how to de-escalate? Robin Moore said only one of them is charged, 3 assailants. Okay, so the two other officers are considered to be backups. Hey, PM Channel, how are you? They're kind of, he's already on the ground, so they haven't used excessive force. Hey, Derica, thank you. I just got my hair done, actually. Stephanie said she was sick and tired of me just relying on my genetics and running around. So I appreciate But yeah, so these other two officers are not using excessive force because they're essentially, aiding,
Mm-hmm.
putting the suspect back into custody.
Mm-hmm.
But the officer who initially did the punches and threw him on the ground is using excessive force because there's no justification for the force that he's using.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So hopefully, I mean, the charges came pretty quickly. We didn't have to march in the streets.
Yeah.
So Timothy said, "That's my wife." Yes, shout out to Timothy Welbeck. So
is he out on bail right now?
Yeah, he got a $5,000 bond and he's been suspended without pay. So let's see. I mean, we've gotten to the point where, the charges are being brought quicker and they're not being suspended with pay. So let's see how we go. This next story about the guys who went in the submarine thing. I was prepared to come on here today to be like, y'all got all this money. This what you want to do. But now it's really sad because they said that they've been gone from days ago. That the submarine imploded days ago. And
did they find the remains of the submarine? I wasn't sure.
I think they found debris of the submarine.
Okay.
But it's been opined that when they were telling all of us that they were running out of oxygen, that they were hearing noises and all this stuff, that the submarine had already imploded at that time. Like it imploded days ago. Which I still feel like that's something super dangerous to do. And I totally get the idea that they're adventurers and, they're exploring the great unknown. I just wonder, like, what a billionaire could have done with $250,000, like for a community in need, or even Ethiopia. Like right now, the UN is withholding aid from Ethiopia, food aid, because they're saying that it's the food is being stolen. And so they're no longer going to give food aid to Ethiopia.
Yeah. Ugh.
So they haven't given them food aid in 90 days. And so people they're starting to add up the numbers of people that are dying from not having food. But I'm like, listen, I'm not going to count other people's coins or tell them what to do. I'm just saying $250,000 worth of food would go a long way in Ethiopia.
Absolutely.
But I absolutely hope that everyone who passed away on the submarine, I hope their souls find peace and that their families find peace. Did you see that there was a stepson?
I did.
I mean, you got kids.
I do. Cardi let him have it, apparently.
Okay, so she was
Cardi was like, you should be sitting by the phone, like waiting to hear news. Like, you should not be out here at the concert. That's what
you should not be at the concert. Okay, so is everybody's relationship with their step parents the same? Or do you feel like because it was so public, that's why he should have just been low? Because what if he didn't like his stepdad? What if his stepdad, treated him poorly? Who knows? We don't know their relationship.
I mean, he did say that he was there trying to find some sense of peace and comfort, and that this was his favorite group, and so that was a place where he could be comforted. That's what I heard him.
But no,
comments on. So I don't know.
Rashida not buying it. She's giving me the no.
I mean, I don't know why he had to be public about going to this concert. It's like, do you? But like to make a big scene out of it also feels a little strange.
Right. That was my thing. I was like, it's fine.
Himself as the stepson of one of the people in the submarine, and as he's at the concert, it just feels strange and insensitive. But
I don't see why he had to post it. Like, just don't post it. Even if he was like going through whatever he was going through, he didn't need to post it. Robin said there is so much video and photographic material about the Titanic they would have been better off using virtual reality headset. No, I mean, that's true. That is a rec that has been studied in depth over and over and over again.
Yeah, the need for this venture just feels so like what people who have too much money do. Like, I just don't understand it either. So I agree with you, Robin.
Even just going just made no sense. Okay. I mean, I'm with it.
But I agree that it's super sad. Like, any loss of life is sad and it feels like pointless. So it's, yeah, I do feel badly for the families involved.
Okay. So we'll have some good news kind of before we bring our next guest in. So I follow this lady on Instagram. She tells us about Black facts that we need to know. And I didn't know this, but I'm a huge fan of diverse emojis. If you're my friend in real life, then you have text with me and like I'm an emoji girl. Okay. Heavy on the emojis. So we have Katrina Parrott to thank for diverse emojis. This is the post about it, so I'll let her talk about Katrina Parrott, because we do have a guest tonight that developed a cool app that's also a Black person in tech. So shout out to Katrina Parrott and our guest. Can we get audio or no? Huh?
See, Katrina spent $200,000 of her own money to create iDiversicons.
We're gonna
have Katrina Parrott to thank for diverse emojis. In 2013, after her daughter came home to her and said, "I wish I could send emojis to my friends that look like me," Katrina spent $200,000 of her own money to create iDiversicons. She came up with the fist bump. She's the one who came up with the high five. She came up with 5 skin tones. She's the first to come up with disability emojis. Then later she tried to partner with Apple and they were like, no, but then they went on to create the same thing. They got approved for the patent. She didn't. This made 2 politicians get involved, Sheila Jackson Lee, Elizabeth Warren, and asked the patent office, hey, what's up? Why didn't she get hers? This is something that's still going on today, but we know that Katrina Parrott did it first. Salute Katrina Parrott. Peace.
Salute.
Black stories we should all know.
Wow. But such an unfortunately common story.
Right. But it's like inspiring, like, oh, okay, she came up with the idea. She had her coins together. She was doing everything she needed to do. And then here come the hater blockers. But it's all good because the story has not ended yet. So that's kind of the good news. So believe me, after I found out about her, I went to do my own little research about her patent, and I do see that it's pending, and I will definitely keep my eyes on this for all the adults and you guys that are watching. I appreciate everybody who's watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for being here. Okay, so my next guest is Randall Scott. He's a fitness guru. He was they don't call him a cast member of season 6, not my season, which was 7. He wasn't in my season, unfortunately for him. He was in season 6 of Ready to Love, Miami on OWN, which is a great show. I don't know how your season went because I haven't watched it, but we're cool. Awesome. Our cast was constantly under scrutiny, under strain, under just a lot of stress. They really gave Miami hell, but I feel like we represent it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we were pretty cool until you told me you didn't watch my season. now I'm starting to second guess that a little bit, you know?
Really?
No, y'all definitely did that.
I tried to get to know other people from other seasons and stuff in real life, like to the extent that I have, like Camille and Sean and stuff like that from DC. I met them in real life. So because I know how TV works and editing and all that stuff, I'm like, I'd rather get to know you. And then if you want to tell me, like, Sue-Ann, episode 3, you want to really understand something about me, check it out. I got you. I will do that. I'm gonna do that for sure. But thank you so much for coming to the adult table.
Nah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, for sure. Okay, so since you're here, let's just get right into it. Um, Jonathan Majors is an actor.
Okay.
He's going through the criminal justice system currently. He has been accused of domestic violence by his ex-girlfriend. The story is that he apparently was on the phone with someone or something, and that's what started the whole drama. So the update is that he's now dating Megan Good, and Megan is going to court with him and supporting him in court. Me personally, I do a lot of criminal defense work, some high profile cases, and every single thing counts. Every single thing, how they come to court, how you leave court, who's with you in court, because everybody's watching everything. And even as the attorney, how I was mentored as a trial lawyer was that from the time you leave in the house in the morning till you get inside of the courthouse, you act as if your prospective jurors are watching you or are with you at all times, because you don't know. You could park next to somebody and be rude, and then that ends up being one of your jurors. So I'm always kind. If somebody forces me to be unkind, but it's so important because eyes are on every single thing. So now everybody's watching because they're like, oh, why is Megan Good holding his hand? And what has she got going on? And whoop-de-whoop-whoop. So Randall, what do you think? If you're going through it and you're in a newish relationship, are you like, babe, come to court with me? Or are you like, it's cool, I'm gonna just go handle it and I'll see you when I get back?
I mean, I think it says a lot about her that she's there supporting him like that. Like that can't be easy. Like who knows what really went on, but to be in the pressure cooker like that and have somebody by your side speaks volumes. I'm
So
definitely
are
asking.
you saying you're gonna ask and be like, can you come with me?
I mean,
I know.
if we're a unit, we're a unit, right? You can't pick and choose when you're a unit. So like if we're like in that space together and we're
Uh-huh.
moving forward in that direction, then yeah, for sure. I'm definitely asking my partner to show up.
So the issue is they've only been dating for like, as we, as far as we know, for a short
Right.
period of time.
I was gonna say that, like who really knows how long they've been dating? That's like public knowledge, right? Publicly we
Mhm.
know it's been a short amount of time, but who knows how long they've really been dealing with each other? And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, having the support of your partner means a lot.
So when what is the time when it's appropriate? Like if they've been dating 30 days, 60 days, after they've had the commitment talk, like what really, I'm asking the questions that the people gonna want to know. They're gonna want to know, like, if they're dating and their person gets in trouble and they've only been talking a couple weeks, like, do I need to go to court or can I chill or am I supposed to? What do I do?
I mean, me personally, if it's brand new, like a couple weeks, like you just said, like a couple days or something like that, I'm not gonna involve anyone. But they got to be pretty serious for him to want
Okay.
her to be there. Like that's not going to just happen just because. I
Okay, so
doubt that
you
it's.
think serious.
Yeah, I think it's pretty serious. Like they have something pretty serious. They have a feeling somewhere that it's going to go long term if she's showing up to court. Like that's a big deal.
Okay. What do you think, Rashida? Is there a time when she should be like, okay, I'm on board. I'm about to go to court. Is it 3 months? Is 3 weeks too early? Are you like, "Ooh, you got a lot of drama going on? I'm gonna just stay home. Like,
So I'm not 100% convinced that they're a real item. I haven't heard
Mm.
either one of them
hot
come out and
take.
say that they are really together. So there's that. They could be friends for a long time. And she's like, listen, we're going to go out here and be like this in public. And I'm supporting you as a friend. Like, we really don't know the nature of their relationship. Um, but all of that said, I think that she's a supportive friend of his, regardless of what the nature of that relationship is. She's demonstrating that she's supporting him, at least as a close friend.
Right. So should she move up, Randall, like in the ranks? Like if she is just a friend and then now she done, you know, went to court with him, is that like a she like shoots and ladders? She gets to like jump to like wifey now because
Well, she done brought another perspective to the table. If she's just a friend, then I don't think she leaves that seat. If she's just a friend, like I've had best friends of the opposite sex, and you never cross lines with them. So if she's just a friend and she's supporting them like that, I would never cross that line. You're gonna lose that. You're gonna
so
mess
if
that all
they're
the way up.
friends, you feel like they should remain friends. Like this
Yeah, yeah,
gesture does
yeah.
not give her "Can I be your girlfriend?" points.
No,
No.
unless they're really pursuing that, right? If they're just friends, like she said, like Rashida said, then you stay there, you know. But if there's something else going on, there's something brewing, and she's showing
Mhm.
up to court, then yeah, like that pretty much puts her like she should probably be it at that point.
Okay, so he should cut off the other people on his roster and just focus on her because none of the rest of them may show up.
Well, well, if they're headed that direction and he brought her, and this is national, like it's already been said. It's already
Right.
been established. Sometimes words aren't needed.
Okay, so he doesn't now need to be like you're my girlfriend because we've all said it, so it's a wrap.
I mean, pretty much.
Pretty
You you
much.
you're only gonna do certain things with certain people. I'll leave it at that. So if they're
Oh,
pursuing something, he's bringing her to something like this, then yeah, like that's pretty serious.
all right, all right. Well,
But
I
I
want
don't
to
know.
bring.
I have to ask. I mean, have you all heard
Oh,
either one of them publicly say that they are formally together?
No, that's why I said
um,
you brought a new perspective to the table. So yeah, that was a good point.
I haven't heard them say that they're together, but they've been like doing multiple outings. So it's like even if they are doing it as friends, which is fine, they might be moving towards something more public if they're like being out in public together. But they could be like, oh no, this is just my homie. Like this, I help him with his acting, whatever. We have the same agent. It's
I
possible.
doubt
I
that though.
mean, I've gone to court. I've gone to court with non-clients, people that I know to, make sure they're straight. I don't hold a hand, you know what I'm saying? Not like that. But, you know, just Randall, I got you, whatever. If you, if you need somebody to go with you, I got you. We just not go hold hands.
And mind you, she's mixed. And so there's the optics of her being a famous Black woman who is supporting this famous Black man who she has at least a friendship with, and saying I'm here to support him, and I'm sort of here to demonstrate that I believe that he should be supported, And so I
Right.
think there's just some undercurrent there that's bigger than like if they're in relationship or not. It's that there's the general optics of her and the stature that she has being a support to him in a very like low time for him.
Yep. And Megan has been very supportive of social justice issues. So she could totally just be there as an advocate for his rights in the criminal justice system. Absolutely. I don't think so, but it's possible.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, you said
possible.
that if they holding hands, then I think that I don't hold none of my friends' hands. That's all I'm saying.
I
I
They're
don't do that.
actors, y'all. They are actors.
mean,
Yeah.
they're getting us. They're
I
getting
mean,
us.
listen, I just don't.
Okay.
I don't want to read into things
I
that
can finish
generally
it.
people who are not actors do.
Right.
You're at least more than friends if you're holding hands. I'll just put
Okay.
it
They're
that way.
definitely more than friends. Okay.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
I'll remember that. I want to bring in our next guest, Mr. Samuel. He is a military veteran, and he has created a super awesome app that I want him to talk about. James Samuel in the building. James Samuel Jr. How are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm well. Suanne, how are you doing this evening?
Good. Happy Juneteenth week.
It is, yeah.
I appreciate you being on the show. I am not a tech person. Everyone I know literally makes fun of me because every time I get a new phone, I have to ask my 12-year-old to like help me set it up. But I love tech in the sense that it makes my life so much easier. It's just that my brain doesn't grasp it. But I think what you're doing is super awesome. The app makes any iPhone into like a body cam.
Yeah,
A
and
person's
Androids as well. Yeah, both iOS and Android. It turns any cell phone into your own personal body camera. It's called Angel Tech. It's Angel with a J, and it's in the App Store, in the Google Play Store. And we have protected our IP, right? So we have a patent for it that was issued on the 28th of February of this year. It was our first patent. So, yeah,
Nice.
go check it out. Go download it, register. We have some 30-day free plans, and protect you and your family's life and those that you care about.
So what kind of pushed you to say, you know what, I'm going to use my super tech genius to do this?
Well, as far as the genius goes, I was inspired by my children because I have two young Black sons, brown boys, beautiful, brilliant, just amazing boys that I wanted to take the 30 years of federal service that I had under my belt as both an engineer and a fighter pilot and a member of the U.S. intelligence community. I've deployed to Afghanistan. I've deployed to East Africa. I've led teams all over the world in something called geospatial analysis. That's knowing where things are that are for you and against you and how to get through them successfully. And so when I saw what happened to George Floyd, there in Minnesota, I said, you know what? We can do something about this. We have the talent, we have the tools, we've been exposed to the technology. And so I put my team into action. And about 105 days later, we had put the app into the iOS store, and then we got it into the Google Play Store about another 60 days after that.
That's awesome. So you really are, I always say that there's many paths to the revolution, and that everybody should do what they can from where they are with whatever their skills and talents are. I happen to be a lawyer, so that's the skills and talents that I use, for better, for worse, as thankless as job as it is. But I think it's awesome that you're using your skills and talents, to make sure that people are protected. Because I can't tell you, how many phone calls I get in the office and how much mail we get in the office, from people whose cases are not on video. They don't have the opportunity just because in the heat of the moment, it's too much they're not thinking about that, or they don't have something where it's convenient to record what's happening to them. And then it makes it harder to really fight for them because we're just in an era where the expectation is, that there's going to be video of everything. And there's still so many police agencies across the country who don't have a requirement to wear body cams or have dash cams at all. So your work is greatly appreciated around here. We love it. We love to see it. And thank you for everything that you're doing. Okay, because you're a man of a certain age, and I'm a woman of a certain age, because I'm always talking about me at my big age. I saw that recently online, Anita Baker and Babyface were pit against each other, okay? And I felt like the only adult in the room to be like, first of all, there's no way in real life Anita Baker and Babyface are beefing. This is internet stuff because these people are both grown. And then number one, why do they have Auntie Anita on the Twitter, on the Instagram, fussing? The disrespect, okay? I was just like, come on, y'all. Do not do.
Look, I mean, how, if I were Babyface, I would just back out, right? It's Anita Baker. I mean, why would you think it's a good idea to shame or just leave it alone? Don't touch that. Just let it go. All right. The ratings ain't worth it. I mean, it's Anita Baker. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to challenge, Patti LaBelle, or, I think I can take Whitney Houston, or, there's certain icons in the industry you just don't mess with. Just leave it alone. Just put that down, man.
The cyberbullying. I'm like, how you cyberbullying a lady who, without her songs, you all wouldn't have been born. You know what I'm saying? Because it's generations between Gen Z that needed, like, I don't think the people that were cyberbullying Anita really understood like how foundational she is to the culture when they started cyberbullying her. Like, initially what happened is, okay, so Anita Baker has a tour, the Songstress Tour. It's her tour. It's called the Songstress Tour. She's like, you know what? Her people are like, let's have Babyface on the tour, obviously, so we can sell more tickets and have more butts in the seats and all that stuff. Anita has just had, before Usher, an iconic run in Vegas. Okay. Like, she's the real deal. Needs no explanation for people of a certain age. I'm doing this for people not of a certain age. Okay. So Anita Baker has her tour. Babyface joins the tour as a featured guest. He's not a co-headliner. Now that's on the promoters and his managers for not being able to negotiate him being a co-headliner. It's the Songstress Tour, but it's cool. He's a featured guest. They have an issue at one of the shows. Babyface doesn't come out. So now the cyberbullies, the internet, starts bullying Anita Baker and saying she's a problem, she's this, she's that, oh my God, she's preventing Babyface. So Anita, I know she's not at home scrolling the gram and scrolling to her. I know one of her grandkids or somebody came and was like, oh, look at this, look what the people saying. And then she tried to go and respond. So then Anita Baker's like, hey, listen, Babyface is a featured guest. He's not a headliner on the thing. So then the cyberbully starts saying, how dare you call him anything but a headliner? But he's not a headliner. He's actually a featured guest. She's just using the actual accurate contractual language.
Before there was Netflix and chill, there was Anita Baker and chill, right? There's so many, there's a whole generation that wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, the Anita Bakers of the world. So it's a generational thing, no doubt about
that. Babyface. So I was like, people on here arguing for Babyface that don't even know who Babyface is, don't know who Anita Baker is. They're just on here arguing like this is Love and Hip Hop. No, this is not Love and Hip Hop. This is like,
no. Look, Babyface wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for Anita Baker. Okay, I mean, he just wouldn't have. I mean, she precedes him in the lineage of great songwriters and singers.
And Babyface never came to protect Anita. That's why I have beef with him. Listen, Babyface is the homie. Love Babyface, but maybe that's why Tracy Edmonds went and married Eddie Murphy. I don't know.
I'm out of my league here.
Why is he to the conversation? So a lot of what I have heard is that there were some background issues between Anita Baker and Babyface that we did not hear. They were having some issues in the background. He never brought it to light. The concert itself, because they were having technical issues, she needed to take up basically her whole set with the time that was remaining. So he did not go out and perform. And that was on her request. After all of that, he was like, fine. They had some issues behind the scenes, and she decided to cut him out of the rest of the tour. It's my understanding that he went away quietly. He wasn't trying to bad talk her, and moved on, like completely moved on. And then the internet happened. And then it's all of this stuff so I don't really feel like Babyface is the problem.
He's not a problem, but he's younger. He's younger and he knows the internet. So but he could be like, hey, y'all, it's fine. It's cool. It is what it is. Make a song with Anita. They could do a stitch, go on live together, whatever. Squash the beef. You know what I mean?
What we don't understand is behind the scenes, there may have been some disrespect where he's like, you know what, I'm washing my hands of it. And I think he's operated as a class act. So I'm not faulting him and how he responded to it, because from what I understand, there could have been some real disrespect. There was actually some disrespect on her part towards him, but he did not come out publicly and say anything negative against her. So we just have to understand there's a lot that we don't
Did she say anything negative about him?
Yeah.
What was it that she said that was negative? Besides you not telling your fans to leave me alone, you need to get your fans.
Well, I mean, she was basically trying to say, like, talk about how he was basically like an opening act and how like this is her show. Like she was really trying to continue to puff herself up. This is my show. And he never really claimed to say this was a co-headlining show. So I'm just like putting the pieces together that, you know, she had some issues that she aired out. He has not aired out his issues. So I can't really speak on what he should have done if we don't really understand what happened behind the scenes.
I still think Babyface should have been like, I'm cool with it. It is what it is. Please stop adding Anita Baker. Don't add her. Okay. I'll see y'all next summer. This is me because I think he's a man.
Let me show you something.
Yeah, I heard him thank his fans and just basically try to gracefully move on.
Is that Anita Baker emoji?
No, it's not. But I wanted to just throw this out before the segment ran out on this topic. But I wanted to show you something really cool that's not Anita Baker, but this is the image inside of Angel Tech, the app. This is the default icon. It was back to the emoji piece you talked about. So when you go into the app, before you put your picture in, this is the image that you have to select away from in order to put your own picture in. And I show this to you because it has nothing to do with Anita Baker and Babyface. But I want your audience to see the only app probably in the world that has a Black woman with natural hair as the default icon inside the technology. And I think that's noteworthy. And I just wanted everyone to see and know
awesome.
that.
No,
I just
we
could not let the segment go by without
that is noteworthy.
We appreciate that. We do. The sisters appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Blondie Monique said that Anita Baker is only 1 year older than Babyface, so they're the same age range. So then he should really be like, okay, I'm Team Anita. Sorry.
I love them. Really messy. And all I know is she was messy out there in public. He was not.
Okay.
Yeah, devil's advocate.
She barely know how to use it. She barely know how to use Twitter. She over here misspellings and all. Like, girl.
Why does he have to clean it up though? That's what I was trying to figure out. I was waiting to understand. Like, why does he have to clean it up? Why is that his job? He didn't say anything at all.
He doesn't have to clean it up per se, but he could have said, in regards to his fans actually cyberbullying her when they don't know what's going on. I think he should have said something because they are in the same age range and they're not part of this internet stuff. So that's why I feel like to be saying
I kind of feel like she's been talked about before. She's been an entertainer for a long time. So
yeah, she's from Detroit. She got an attitude.
Exactly. So her using the cyberbullying is part of the whatever situation that they had backstage. She just used that. That's not real. She's been talked about for a long time. She's been bullied before. She's just using that. She's just using that as gasoline for a fire that's already happened behind the scenes. It's not his job. It's not his job to clean that up.
Listen, y'all need to go on YouTube. Of course, subscribe, like, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody who's here. But you need to put on an Anita Baker playlist. I feel like that'll totally change your mind about the whole situation. Derek is like, he's Team Babyface. He's like, he's been active longer. Okay, fine.
I love them both.
He's a legend. He's a legend for sure.
As y'all know, I'm gonna stick beside who I'm gonna stick beside.
Team Anita. Definitely Team Anita.
But I got in trouble on the internet because I went under one of the posts and I was like, well, this lady's from Detroit, so she's not really studying out cyberbullying. And then that turned into a 4,000 comment that I made of some people being like, yeah, she's from Detroit, don't mess with her. And then other people being like, who cares if she's from Detroit? She got attitude. So that's why it was in my mind, because I kept getting the notifications that people were,
And here's the thing,
commenting
people kept
on
responding,
my
the more
thing,
she
saying
kept responding. So
right.
Auntie Nita
Right.
could have got off the internet altogether and never got involved.
That's my point.
Dion be coming on
That's
the
my
internet.
point.
I know.
Dion be coming on the internet sometimes.
But at least
okay,
Auntie
so
Dion's grandchildren help her navigate the internet
They do.
situation.
They do. Before I talk about this next story that comes out of LA, I want to bring in my next guest, Cash, Cali-born hip hop artist, social justice activist. I am Cash in the building.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
Good. Thank you for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for being at the adult table.
Oh, I appreciate being a guest. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to talk about somebody who lives in LA, Columbus Short.
Mm-hmm.
He's an artist. I mean, we think of him as an actor, but I know that he's had like his kind of like singing career here and there for a while. And he went out and he was performing, and the internet dragged him for performing. I just, can you put the sound on? Okay, so this was my thing. He's just living life and being unproblematic. He's not being arrested. He's not beating anyone. He's not out here drunk. He's not cheating on anyone. He's not doing any of that. He's out performing with a band. People are mad. So I just said, let him live. He's literally being unproblematic in this moment. And the internet still found a way to be problematic. I don't know. Rashida, what do you think?
I mean, the internet gonna always have something to say. So that's just to be expected. And they find it funny, so they're gonna have something to say about it.
I mean, look at his people supporting him. Everybody's like, okay, Columbus, okay.
I mean, I agree with you. He's out here being unproblematic, but that doesn't mean that he's like covered against the, the internet trolls who trying to get their laughs off. I mean,
people are like, he's an abuser. He's an abuser. Don't support him. Okay, I wasn't necessarily supporting anything negative that he's done. I was literally saying in that moment, he is just out here singing. Cash, like when you go to perform and do your thing, right? I mean, what's in your mind? Are you thinking of, the jaywalking you did in your childhood, or are you like just in your moment?
Nah, we just in the moment. We just in the moment. It's the internet. They're gonna have the internet gonna have their opinion. You cannot defeat the internet. But I think what it is if you're an actor and that's what we know you as, then that's what we want to see you do. If you're an artist, for the most part, it's kind of hard to transition. So, with the internet, they're like, hey, bro, you stay over there in that box because that's what we know you to be great at. But he just living his life, man. Let that man be happy.
How do you feel about people? Do people try to like box you in the industry? Like, oh, because you're a hip hop artist, you can't also be a businessman, or you can't do certain things? Or have you been kind of free in your career to do what you want?
I've been kind of free so far. You're always going to have the naysayers, right? But I've been free. I'm going to do what I want to do and how I want to do it and how I see it. Whether it's business, whether it's clothing, whether it's getting into the acting, whether it's I want to go write a book, I'm going to go do it.
Okay. So you're not adhering to people's boxes. What do you think, Randall? Because you wear a lot of hats too, in a way. Do you feel like Columbus should be boxed in to only, do his acting thing, or do you feel like, okay, let the man sing if he wants to sing, even if it's not the best singing ever?
I think he should do whatever his heart feels or desires. I don't think anyone should be boxed in. I think you
Okay.
should wake up every day to be as creative as you want to be in any field or with any hat. Just do whatever you want, do whatever you feel, and that's really what life's about. Just be happy.
So it's not weird that we saw him acting and then stomp the yard, and then he's over here with the band.
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, every business rebrands itself every 5 years, so why can't he, right?
Right.
Mhm.
You got to make changes to stay relevant. You can't stay the same. We all supposed to grow, so let him try other lanes. If it fails, it fails, but at least he's trying.
What do you think, James?
There's, you've seen the internet talk about Black Boy Joy, right? And just celebrating Black men frolicking in different places, right? I mean, just letting Black men breathe and have joy and do what we love to do and be who we are, because we see the pictures and we see the videos of just the opposite of that all too often. So I celebrate them. I'm like, man, you be you and just let the world just enjoy yourself, because life is too short.
I agree. I think people need to leave folks alone and let people live a little bit and just, do their thing. Whether if he's an artist, I mean, Jamie Foxx is like, what is he, like a quintuplet threat? Like, he's a comedian, he's an actor, he can play piano, play multiple instruments, he could sing, like he could do so many things. And I feel like people accept it for him. I wonder why people don't really accept it that Columbus just wants to sing. It's not like he's doing 8 things. He's doing 2 things. India McCall said, I don't think he should be boxed in. I agree. I absolutely agree. So this is the story I want to talk about next. I kind of saw Dr. Umar on the internet this week, and I don't know, I get in trouble sometimes because some things that he says, I'm not totally with him 100%. Sometimes he says things that I'm like, but I felt like he was cooking this week. He was talking about how there's an expectation of Black women to be accountable for everything. There has been for the last 50 years. They've had to pretty much do everything on their own in terms of raising kids and just doing a lot for the community. And then the expectation from Black men is like, oh, you're not being feminine enough, you're not being soft enough, you want to be in this soft girl era, you don't want to be accountable and blah blah blah, you need to heal and all this other stuff that is in the Black men, Black woman feud. And so Dr. Umar was like, look at all this stuff that Black women have had to do, including, take up for Black men when they've been having social justice issues, take up for our own intersectionality, raise kids, because a lot of Black men are taken away from homes for different reasons, including voluntarily being wild, in addition to involuntarily. So let me see if I can find it. Do you have it? But I thought it was an interesting discussion, so I wanted to see what you guys thought about what he says. I see Randall's already ready to be like, no, I don't agree with Dr. Umar. It's in the thing. Huh? Where is Dr. Umar from? Where is he from?
The Philly area.
Okay. Philly, okay. Let's see if we can find it. Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson. It says he's a psychologist. I didn't know that. Okay, we got it.
She had to become masculine. Be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
If
to
we
be
was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history. The black woman has been the be-all, end-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe.
You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
If
to
we
be
was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history. The black woman has been the be-all, end-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough.
Okay, Randall, because I feel like you're the guy that's like, but. So go ahead.
I don't have any buts. But like your man over there, man, he does the absolute most. And I mean, I get it. You know, he gets a lot of attention, but he does the absolute most. To be honest with you, I have a problem with the whole gender battle of the sexist thing, period. The whole masculinity role, the whole feminist movement, like all we're doing is spending more time disengaging with one another, right? And we really spent enough time to like give our partner what they actually need, opposed to trying to live in a society that was written by people who died in their 50s in today's life. We're doing nothing but causing more and more distance between the two. You understand what I'm saying? Like he does it all the time. Like he has to, whenever you have to put somebody down to explain something else, you're doing yourself a disjustice. You understand what I'm saying?
Who is he putting down?
Well, the way he's talking about it, the way he's talking, the uplift, the black woman, he has to downgrade the man. It's the man's fault. You get what I'm saying? And I don't like that. Even if it's the other way around, and to uplift black men, you have to like lower black women. You're not. That's not true. You're not true. The problem is we have a major disconnect. That's the problem. Like we're not taking the time to listen to each other and figure out what each other needs. That's the real issue, right? Like what happened, we know what happened, we know why we're disconnected, but we're not spending enough time or energy trying to unify together, especially as a race. We don't do anything together. I'm from DC, right? And we had the riots up here, and we had the Black Lives Movement. Then out of the Black Lives Movement, we have Black Women's Lives Matter, right? So Black Lives Matter and Black Women's Lives Matter. It's two movements now. Why? Aren't we all black? We should be moving together, like as a unit. And I think that's our problem.
Okay,
So
hold
that's
on.
stick in my head.
Because wait, I'm gonna let you say what you have to say. But just for the record, Black women do live at the intersection of race and gender. So there is some oppression that we experience that is slightly different from Black men. So
And again,
I have never personally heard of Black Women's Lives Matter movement, but I hear what you're saying in terms of people saying, you know, people making a separation under certain circumstances. I think I can say in civil rights specifically and social justice. Oh yay, we got our first super chat. Oh, we in there. I want, you know, there are some things where George Floyd's case will garner more attention and have more people in the street than Breonna Taylor. Why is that? Is it because I don't know, but people could say that it's because Breonna is a woman and George Floyd is a man. People could say that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people could say that because there's such a drastic difference. The cases occurred at the same time and it was similar issues. But I hear what you're saying in terms of the wars between black men and black women are over.
I'm still with you, but you still got to separate the two. I don't believe you have to separate the two. You're absolutely right, right? But as a race, we're being oppressed, period. And that's the major issue. If we can figure out a way to move together, we will cover a lot more ground. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to take away from one part to uplift the other. We should be moving collectively, and we're not. We're not moving collectively, and that's what I'm talking about. We're separating ourselves.
I think that Dr. Umar was making a point to say that there are black women that are upset and angry in that gender wars issue, and this is what's underlying them being upset. Period. Not saying they need to continue to be upset or we can't move past that. I think that not you, but I think there is a glossing over of the responsibility.
It all stems from the same place. It
Sometimes
stems from the same
black
place.
women, there kind of is that glossing over. Like, yeah, that's just what they do. They make magic. They do the thing. They raise their families. They do the stuff. Like, yeah. Let's get into this other stuff. Let's move on from that. So I only liked his commentary because I felt like he was actually taking a moment to acknowledge, like, there has been a lot going on. There is some empathy for black women to say, damn, yeah, there was, a economic crisis, a mental health and chemical dependency crisis in the 80s, all those things that happened that led to black women having to do XYZ. So just understand they've had to take on a lot of responsibility. Not saying currently, this generation act bad is dealing with that or whatever, but just acknowledging kind of the shoulders upon a lot of the stuff the foolishness stands on is actually kind of becoming desensitized because they were having to do so much. Cash, what do you think? Because you've really been giving me a lot of facial expressions, and so I would like to know.
I agree with a lot what Randall was saying, that we need to really focus on how can we progress together, right? But we got to understand the root of the issue. And I don't think the root of the issue is to point the finger, whether it is, women need more accountability or it's the black man's fault. The root of the issue is there were things and tools and decisions put in place to separate the black man and the black woman to begin with. So we talking about a separation that was intentional, that didn't come from neither you nor me. So the black man gets taken out of the home. The black woman has to figure it out. Now, who becomes the man in the home? The system does. So we talking about a rabbit hole that's very, very, very deep. So now we fast forward 50 years, and now you have the black woman is angry at the black man, and the black man is like, so it's a lot of back and forth. But we're not looking at who the enemy is.
Oh, I do. I know.
Right. So how do we get over the trauma? We have to come together. We have to lay it all on the table, and then we have to figure out a way how to move forward together as black men and black women, and to be unified and not divided. Because right now you can go on social media every day and you can look down the news feed and you can see the division in the mentality every day. I see it every day. I can scroll down and I can see it, and I can see the black women dog black men out. Black men ain't this and black men ain't that. And I can see it the other way around. So it's very hard to look at on a day-to-day basis. Like it's very relevant. And then so now we're to a point to where the new generation of black women is saying, I don't need a black man. Right? So now we have women who say, yo, I don't need you. I can do what you do, and I can do what I do all by myself. But that's so far from the truth. You need us just as much as we need you. God created it that way. You know what I'm saying? God created man to need a helpmate. We needed a helpmate. We needed you. That's why he created you. There's no other explanation for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's this mentality now that we have to break, because the mentality is being pushed and it's being programmed and it's being conditioned and it's being marketed. That's what's being marketed. You know what I'm saying? All the way from the independent woman movement. You know what I'm saying? Like it starts there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm independent. I'm an independent woman and I'm flourishing. So we gotta look at where the mentality comes from. We didn't have an independent man movement. Man never wanted to be independent of women, but now we have women that want to be independent of man. The I don't need you movement. I may want you, but I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we fighting against, and this is what the back and forth is on a day-to-day basis.
So James, who has to extend the olive branch and be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do? Because I can tell you, and Randall, well, I don't know, but I have been accused of being a pick-me, and apparently a pick-me is a woman who is like not aggressive or not saying, oh, I'm an independent woman, who is like, I would like a partner, I'm fine with that, accepting of, you know, I guess traditional gender roles and open to relationship. That's apparently what a pick-me is. So who is supposed to extend the olive branch? I mean, I don't care about being called a pick-me. I really could care less, but I just think it's interesting that if you are actually saying, well, hey, you know, we got a lot going on. The black men got a lot going on. Like you say, there has to be some unity. Let's bridge this gap. And let me start with me by trying to be in a healthy relationship with a black man. Then that's looked at almost negatively. So who do you think has to extend the olive branch, James?
Well, I want to go back to something Cash just said, because he was hitting the nail on the head, right? I mean, there is a design at play here. There is a nefarious design at play. There's a design that's set up to undermine our relationships and undermine our community and undermine our family and keep us the system in control, I think was the term you used, Cash, and that's exactly right. You know, let's talk about the crabs in the barrel for just a second. I want to get back to the olive branch, Sue-Ann. But, you know, the whole crabs in the barrel thing, right? When one crab tries to crawl out, the other crabs pull them back in, right? We've heard of that. But instead of focusing on the crabs and their behavior, just understand that it's not natural for crabs to be in a barrel. Crabs are not in their natural habitat in a barrel. Someone put them in the barrel, and then someone watched their behavior spiral out of control. And so we have to focus on the person who put the crabs in the barrel, not what the crabs are doing to each other. Okay. And so that's what Cash was talking about. And you're exactly right. It's the system that was designed to cause us to fragment and break apart so that it can control and own our labor, our bodies, our wealth, our posterity, our children, and everything under its purview, right? That's what we need to focus on. The other system that's in play here is the other one that Cash talked about, and that is designed by God himself, the creator of the universe and everything. He's the only thing that wasn't created. That being that is the reason we're breathing and we're having this conversation right now, has designed a family to work a certain way. Now, man in our sin nature has broken that apart, and you know, we're in the last days if we want to have church here. But we have to also recognize, right? We have to recognize that we need to recognize that design from the designer himself, and we need to hearken to that. And the man has to be the one to extend the olive branch. It's about leadership. It is about headship. And it is about the way God designed that to flow and to work. Feminism has broken that apart and has turned it on its head. We're in the upside down world because these are the last days. And in the last days, right shall be called wrong and wrong shall be called right. And we're going to be all confused, right? And that's where we are. But the designer has set up a certain way. So we got to go back to the original design and understand there's an alternate design that's working against us. And the man in that original design has to be the one to understand the leadership role, to extend the olive branch, to humble himself, and to serve his helpmate as a servant leader, right? And, here's my helpmate. There she is, Dr. Evelyn Teague Samuel. That's her, right? That's her right there. Strong, I'm telling you, strong Black woman. And, gets it multi-generationally, right? Yeah, this is her other book. All right, we're just going to have a little. This is her other book. This is her second book she published. Okay, she is a dentist. She is an author. She is a mother. She wears all the hats. She, along with my mom and all the other Black women I know, are the reason that we put a Black woman's face as the default icon in our app. Amen. Because the Black woman is the center of, and has been the center of, the Black universe since the beginning. Beginning. The beginning. Go back to Kush. Go back to the ancient, don't go back to 1776. Go back to, 1776 before the Common Era, before Christ. And you go into those ancient African kingdoms, go into Mali, go talk to Mansa Musa, go talk to his mom, go talk to all those Black women before Egypt was even Egypt, right? The Black woman has been in the center of our universe from the beginning. And we just have to recognize that and know that her power and her centrality and it's part of who we are. The system's trying to break that apart and turn that against us and have us turn against our women and destroy our whole family, but they're too strong for that, and it's been that way for thousands of years.
Rashida, Queen.
So thank you. So I want to go back to something that Umar Johnson said that I think needs to be, I guess, looked at more closely. He talked about these various qualities being like sort of contributing to the masculinization of women. And it actually made me question, well, what do we consider masculine? And why is being a builder, being someone who is a strong support in your family, why are these qualities seen as masculine? Why is that not part of what we consider being feminine? And so I do think that we have to kind of re-examine like how we classify what is masculine, what is feminine, because feminine is a lot more when you think about it holistically, like what makes a woman who she is. It's not just the things that we talk about, the soft life qualities. So I just think that was important to raise.
No, I totally agree. In India, one of our viewers said that men were created to be the leaders, so they have to get back in the community and do more, especially with our young boys. And I feel that's what Umar was saying. So the men have to be the ones to kind of extend the olive branch. But it's tough. It seems like a lot of times, like Cash was saying, when you're just scrolling on the internet, it's like, this one's fighting with this one and Blueface and this one and the other people and they're fighting and all this stuff. To me, when I just look at it from afar, people arguing about who's going to pay, who do you pay half the bills in your house and who pays half and all that stuff, like every single day. I think James' point is so right. It's like there's like this programming happening for us to be in this constant state of disagreement about various things. I think there are some practical things that we do have to talk about. And I only say that because I want to talk about Zion Williams a little bit and his situation. But there are some very practical things happening in modern dating, which I think start some of the issues. Like in modern dating, there is like a talking phase, a dating phase, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and then like a exclusive dating, and then you're in a relationship, and then you only get to like that end part if you have a very specific conversation like, are you my girlfriend? Am I your boyfriend? And so I think there's, in those 1, 2, 3 steps, people are getting hurt. And then that's causing people to be on the defensive, men and women, to be on the defensive with each other about broader issues, because people have their issues about just their microcosm or what happened between them and another person. So then they're like, all men are dogs, all men are this, because they were in one of those weird phases or they didn't know or whatever, because either person is not being upfront and transparent and honest based on whatever. Either the guy's not being upfront and honest because based on economic reasons, he doesn't feel like he's ready to, be in a full-on relationship or have that responsibility. So they're in a in-between phase. And then, maybe he's seeing other people at the same time. Or vice versa could be happening. Maybe the woman is not ready to be in a full-on relationship. So I think that there's practical day-to-day things that we could do to like being transparent and honest in those types of phases. To just like the man in the mirror concept, like you just being more honest and more transparent in your actual relationships between Black men and Black women could like spread out, to everyone. Because if you're being real and honest and you're dating someone and you're like, hey, listen, I think you're really cool, but I don't think it's going to be a long-term situation, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let the person go their separate ways. Then that person doesn't have a bad taste in their mouth to take somewhere else or to release on the internet or whatever the case may be. This is just my theory that I'm kicking around with you guys. And you guys could be like, no, it's man, that ain't it, or whatever. But I really do feel like it has to start at an individual level, the extending of the olive branch. And there has to be some transparency and honesty and communication, like about the actual relationship and connection of people. Like sometimes people just don't evaluate. People are like, oh, I really like this person. And instead of saying, okay, is this person supposed to be my friend? Are they supposed to be my business partner? Are they supposed to be my, friend that I hang out with and just talk to about ideas or book ideas or whatever? They immediately go to, this must be a sexual partner or this must be a romantic partner, as opposed to really like evaluating there's other types of relationship and connection you can have with people of the opposite sex that, can flourish and be awesome without having to get into that place where, it can make it complicated. What do you think? Okay, go ahead, James.
If I may, the internet is dialed, it's tuned. Okay. Right. The companies that control the social media, they're tuning the algorithms, they're tuning what we're watching. Okay, so we can't take the prevalence of a viewpoint on the internet as though that is the majority of common perspective. That is a false assumption, because people they shop and we shop and we vote and we live and we marry based on surviving and thriving. And fear is at the basis of all that. And so if you can spur controversy and or spur hatred, you get a lot more attention, a lot more traction in internet algorithms speak. And that's what the system goes after. And so, the internet's not a good litmus test in that way. I'll just say that up front.
I think we got to get back to the basics. We got to get back to the foundation. The sad part is that this generation doesn't know what the foundation is. So since they don't know the foundation, where are they getting that information from? Where are they getting their so-called truth from? They getting it from whatever they being fed, which is access to a whole lot of information, whether it's misinformation, whether it's fact, or whether it's false. But they're being fed so many things, and there's no foundation in that. So somehow, some way, we got to get back to the foundation and the basics. What does the good book say? Because it's only one truth. It's not your truth, then her truth, then his truth. It's only one. At the end of the day, it's only one truth. And that one truth is the one who created it. Because you ain't do it, and I ain't do it, and nobody else ain't do it. So without foundation, without a solid foundation, then we just like this. You just go where the wind blows. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we see today. Everybody is going, if the wind blow left, then we going left. And if it blow right, then they go right. You know what I'm saying? So, and like he said, it's a controlled substance. The information that's being fed at a rapid rate is controlled. It's not by, it's not by, happenstance. It's controlled. It's controlled for a reason. And this is how they control the mindset. This is how they control the perception. This is how they control conditioning. Everything is controlled. It's all controlled. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful of what we take in. And as men, like you say, like it's because we the head. So we got to extend the olive branch. We got to be like, yo, let's sit down and let's have these hard discussions because it's hard. And let's let the guard down because we can't communicate when the guards are up. We can't communicate when we're defensive either. So you're defensive, I'm defensive, and we can't communicate properly. So we gotta be able to sit down, we gotta be able to talk, and we gotta be able to have these hard conversations on these hard topics without getting defensive, without pointing the finger, without blaming, without shaming, all of these things. You know what I'm saying? And somehow, some way we can come out to a resolution. Now that doesn't mean we agree on everything, but we have to be comfortable with agreeing to disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing on certain things, but we have to be able to come to a middle ground at the end of the conversation. Like, you know what? Okay, let's meet here. You know what I'm saying? And then how do we move forward from here? And what is the foundation of whatever here is? Because we have to have a foundation, and it has to be solid, and it has to be truthful, and it has to be, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So,
Randall, are you gonna extend an olive branch? You're on mute. Oh, he's unmuted.
oh, he's on mute.
Is he still on mute or no?
No, he's on mute.
Oh, we can't hear.
Something on his mic.
Oh.
Change his mic.
Darn, I wanted to know. Rashida, do you agree? Do you think it's the men that have to extend the olive branch?
I mean, I agree with a lot of what I heard. I do agree when we're taking a biblical like posture that the man like leads the way in this space. And so yes, the man can extend the olive branch, but I think honestly it's like both parties need to come, to demonstrate love to your neighbor as you love yourself, and honor and respect have to be paramount from both sides. And so I think it's both have to come to this space with goodwill and good intention to both respect and hear like where we can find the common ground.
I agree with that too. So we'll talk about Zion Williamson, this basketball player. He's black.
Oh, Randall.
We can't hear him. Call me on the phone, Randall. I'll put you on the phone.
Listen, he's on fire right now.
he did he post the photos or did the
He took a photo. He took a video with his
is he the one that posted it is my question, or was it posted on her page?
No, they posted together.
Okay, so he posted together at his children's mother's baby shower, and then this woman who is she's a professional in the adult film industry, came out and was like, oh, we've been sleeping together. You didn't even tell me you had a kid on the way, blah, blah, blah. And now she's like, again, talking about what we're talking about in terms of the algorithm and the internet, she's gotten this platform to say, I'm gonna release our intimate tapes, which is actually a crime, called revenge porn, FYI, Mariah. But she's like very upset and being very aggressive with the internet about to say that she's had a relationship with him and he's been giving her money and they've been having all this stuff going on and now he has a baby. So my question for the men, right? This is my question. What is the baby mother supposed to be doing? Is she supposed to be like, I'm not coming up off it. It's fine that you were sleeping with this lady and now she's saying all these things. Like what? I mean, I know that the expectation is we are supposed to jump all over the Mariah woman and be like, why is she trying to take a black man down and blah, blah, blah. But where is the accountability for Zion Williamson interacting with this woman while he got a whole relationship?
Well, we don't know if it was a relationship or not.
Excuse me. It's not a relationship. Let me be clear.
So we don't know if it was a relationship or not, but we do know it was a sexual relationship. We don't know if they was
with both people, obviously.
Right. So we don't know.
And there's some overlap there. Right.
So he's a young man. He's young. He got all this money. I'm pretty sure he wasn't committed to the porn star. I'm 99% sure he's not thinking about wifing up the porn star. Right. So.
But he's also not wifing up the non-porn star, is my point.
Right. So he's not wifing up, but I'll tell you this, he looks like he's more happy with the non-porn star, but we don't know. We ain't Zion. So
I'm taking an L now. He's taking an L because he is not disciplined. He's obviously in a place where the people around him are not telling him, yo, you need to chill. He doesn't have any male friends that are like, ooh, you seem like you're doing a lot. You juggling a lot. You got a baby shower on this day, and you got to go down here and do this. Like, you got a lot going on.
Right.
So I'm trying to understand where in that equation do you as men be like, Zion, dog, come on, you come on.
What? Well,
sit down, like.
If I was his homie,
the first thing you said is, well, he got a lot of money.
No, listen, what I'm saying is, look, right? He's young, but he's young with money. So when you're young with money, everything getting thrown his way. And when I say everything you can think of is getting thrown his way. Now, if he got any OGs around him, the OGs got to be like, hey, you might not want to put yourself in that type of predicament with that. You don't know how that's gonna go. You might want to relax. You know what I'm saying? So it's no different from John Morant. Like, it's these young black men with money, and they need OGs around them with some common sense. That's gonna kind of guide him. Now, whether he takes it and apply it, that's on Zion. But he's making young man mistakes. He's making young man mistakes. Like, that's what he's doing. I think he's been in the league like 4 years tops, like 3-4 years. He's young, straight out of high school. He came into the league 18, multi-million-dollar deal. What do you think he's gonna do out here?
My thing is, I just don't understand why that is the sentiment. And I'm not angry about it. I want to understand why the sentiment is, well, he's getting offered a lot of pussy, so he got money. So just let him do the thing that we've been seeing over and over again in sports industry. Oh, the Magic Johnson, Shaq, let's watch him do the same thing that all of his predecessors have done. Right. Allow it or excuse it or coddle and say, well, he doesn't deserve to be torn down. Hold on. But who protects and says anything to the baby mother who's now like, oh, apparently there's like a third woman, and then Mariah, she's doing what she's doing because she is like, hey, if I'm going to end up without the guy that I thought I was progressing within a relationship, then I don't have anything to lose. I don't care. I'm not saying I personally would do that. I'm saying there's now potentially 2, maybe 3 people that are having an issue. And then there's now another generation of a kid involved. Right. So should his career be taken away because he's making these steps and he's doing these things? It's not like there's not precedent, right? It's not like they don't sit there. I've been there for NFL stuff, but I know for rookies, they give them a training on this exact thing. They're like, you're going to be approached. Women are going to this, you know, you got money. There's people that are going to sneak in your hotel rooms. Be aware, you know, whatever. Just like they talk to kids about not using drugs, they talk to these athletes about this stuff.
Right, right.
So when is the point where, as a community, we're going to be like, dog?
Yeah, we got to sit them down. Listen, somebody got to sit them down and be like, yo, this can't. It's a so it's a conversation that has to be had.
Is it a though? Because we have say, well, he got money.
No, but listen, no. But you got to paint the picture right. If he was 18, 19, 20, just a regular 18, 19, 20-year-old out here, they're out here. But it's not televised because they're not Zion. So we get to watch this young man on a worldwide stage on this big platform. So we're not excusing what he's doing. There's no excuse for that. But we have to take into consideration this young man came into the league at 18. We don't know who's around him. Same thing with John Morant. What? He's like 20, not even 21. So we talking about these young men coming in here with all this money. Yes, they probably, sat down with them. Hey, these are the do's and don'ts. But that's not really all they need. They need they need somebody around them that knows them, that come from where they come from, and that can kind of guide them along the way. That's what they need. And they need role models around them too. But we just have to take into consideration young black men with all of this money and what they are attracting at such a young age. And it's probably it's 99%. It's probably the total opposite of where they come from. 9 times out of 10, they come from where I come from, Randall come from, and he come from. You know what I'm saying? So they're like a kid in a candy store, not excusing it. This is just the reality.
I get it. I just think that when do we stop saying, well, boys will be boys? Does James, do you have an opinion on it? Is there a thing over there?
Yeah, I do. A couple things. Wow. The thought that was going through my head, we talked about it a little bit before, but just, again, it's the system. These are systemic things, right? These are systemic things that we're seeing over and over and over again. These are the resultants of our community being torn asunder for wealth building by this nation over 400 years. Okay. And so our relationships are strained. You have one male for, I don't know, four women, or so or more. And then you got this young guy who's got all this money. But look, we can't excuse Mariah Mills as well, because she's trying to come up by putting her tape out there. She's trying to put Kim Kardashian.
Like I said, I am not making an excuse for her. I am saying historically, like Robin Givens, lost her entire career because she said something against Tyson back in the days. Like, we've seen it where the black men in these kind of high profile situations are always sheltered. It's like, well, he's managed to get into an arena where a lot of black men don't get. So just leave him be. That's not what I'm saying. It's fine that you've had success in your sports, that you've secured your contract, that you're going to be able to change your family's life. That doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want to do. You still have to have some. You still have to, make sensible decisions in your personal life that will actually push yourself forward. Because what's the point of him now being in this situation? Obviously, he's going to have to pay for this kid. He's not married to this lady. Then he has this issue with Mariah, which I know he's going to end up having to give her some money, because the league is going to be like, listen, you're going to get traded. We're going to get you out of here because we don't need this. NBA is a clean family organization, and you can't have no sex tape online. So you need to go pay her or whatever you need to do to get this gone, or you can go. You're going to lose your entire career over a decision made about what?
Look, again, I'm not pointing the finger at her or him. Everybody in this situation is doing themselves. They're being them, and they're trying to come up any way they can through this process. he is living La Vida Loca, right? He's like, I got all this money, I'm young, and everybody's throwing it at me. I'm going to be me. And the women he's dealing with, they're like, hey, I'm going to get, we have children together. If I were her, focus on the kids. That's it. Get what you need from him. Focus, your children are your priority, right? The porn star, she's going to do her thing. So everybody's got to grow up in this situation. That's the bottom line. They all have to grow up. The man has to grow up to realize he shouldn't be out here sleeping with all these different. He should be in covenant with one woman. He should be in covenant with one woman.
A word.
One woman, married, having children, and making sure those children have what they need to be healthy and successful and God-fearing and all that. It should, but that's not what's happening. And a lot of different reasons, the women should be in covenant with that one man. She shouldn't be out here selling herself to, make movies and whatever, right? I mean, it's things upside down 5 ways from Sunday. So to try to dissect it and put it on one, everybody needs to grow up.
No, I don't want to put it on one person or the other. I absolutely think everybody has their role to play. I'm saying that historically, I never see anyone have the conversation of, well, why the hell would he work so hard, get to this point, get this career, get this contract, and then go sleep with a porn star? That makes no sense. Put everything at jeopardy for what? Why isn't anybody saying, Zion, man, come on? Everybody's like, oh, look at what this porn star is doing. She's tearing him down. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that she's without account or even the baby mother is without account. I mean, she knows that she's in a relationship with him. Who knows what he's telling her, but they're obviously not in a committed relationship. Or who knows?
So question. So what if he had a relationship with this porn star and he got the porn star pregnant, right? There's no other women, but it's just the porn star. He would have still been judged under fire. Why? Because he got a porn star woman pregnant. He would have still been judged. Why would you get a porn star woman pregnant? Why would you, out of all the women, you could have chosen somebody else? They would have told him from Monday to Sunday.
Okay.
For getting this one woman pregnant.
I don't think
this is the thing. I agree with James. There's so many things wrong with the situation. We don't have to talk about the hypotheticals. Let's just focus on what the reality is, that what happens in the dark comes to light. Right. And there's a lot of light now shining on various dark situations, and we have to take it all into account. And so I think we can't just focus on Zion. We focus on all of it and say that there's really some problems here that are kind of elevating some deep issues that they're all dealing with.
Is Randall back, or is he still? Oh, he's not back yet. Darn. You're unmuted. I don't know why I can't hear. What a bummer.
He's furious. I know Randall got a lot of feedback again. I'm sorry.
I feel like I mean, dude, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sad that we can't hear him. Let me say this. Our kind of like our closing question, and then everybody will kind of I will give everybody the opportunity to say how we can find you and all that stuff. That I want to talk about tonight is, and I don't know if we can talk about it quickly, but it doesn't really matter. Is love enough to sustain a relationship? A romantic relationship? Randall's vote is no. It's not.
Well, there's 4 types of love, right? Mm-hmm. There are 4 types of love. There's storge, right, which is familial love. There's agape, which is godlike, unconditional love. There's eros, which is erotic love. And then there's phileo, which is brotherly love. So agape love can sustain anything. Absolutely. That unconditional godlike love is enough. It is sufficient. It really is.
Randall is like, no.
Do we have that as human beings naturally? No. We have to grow into that love. And we can only love like that once we've been loved like that. And we have the example to know how to love like that. And it is long suffering. You read what 1 Corinthians 13 says about love it's all those things. It is, but the first thing it says about it is long suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, yeah, it's patient, it's kind, it does, it does not boast, it's humble. So yeah, that kind of love but we have to grow into that kind of love, because that kind of love doesn't come natural to us in our nature.
Okay. So, Cash, is it enough? Is love enough to sustain a romantic relationship?
I think so. And here's why.
Okay.
Let's take what we see. Listen, we see multimillionaires married, all the money in the world, and it still doesn't sustain it. So you can have all the money, and it still doesn't work. So if money doesn't fix it, it doesn't keep it. Love, unconditional love, the love that he just mentioned in Corinthians, right? Because that's one of my favorite passages. I'm glad you brought that up. But that type of love sustains anything across the board. Somebody told me love doesn't pay the bills. A woman told me that.
But it does.
But it does.
It does. Enlighten us what she did.
Love pays the bills because love will drive you to do the things you need to do to support those that you love. So I agree with both gentlemen here that the kind of love that's talked about in 1 Corinthians 13 is absolutely sufficient, because it's a love that comes with respect. It's a love that comes with honor. It's a love that comes with sacrifice and with submission on both sides. So it's not this idea of like the love I feel. It's the verb. It's the actions that follow the concept of love.
Yeah.
So love does pay the bills.
It absolutely should.
Yeah.
I happen to be from the school of thought that I say it all the time. I'm like, if it's your person as a man, whatever things that like you have to do to maintain your relationship, you're gonna do it. To maintain your family, you're gonna do it, because that's definitely who you're connected with. I feel like when it's forced, or you don't have the motivation to do those things, like you don't want to provide for this person, or you don't want to make sure that this person's okay or comfortable or has things that they want or like, or has all their hierarchy of needs and more, it's not your person. It's just not your person. I feel like it's natural, if you are connecting with a person as a man, that you naturally step into that kind of role. And for vice versa for women, like if you are connecting with someone on that level, you naturally go into your feminine kind of softer, guards down place, but it works together. It's not like one thing and then the other person just kind of standing there. Like it's something that has to work hand in hand.
I took a class. I spent some time in seminary. Okay. And I took a class. It was a weekend class called Christ-Centered Sexuality. And we had a guest preacher. This was in St. Louis. His name's Scotty Smith. He came from a church in Nashville, or outskirts of Nashville. And he started the class off by saying, my wife has been married to 5 different men. And he had all of our attention, right? We're like, oh, we all set up like, wow, this is going to be a good class. I want to get details. What? You're married to someone who's been married to 5 different men? What is going on, And he just said, after 35 years of marriage, I'm just glad that they were all different versions of me. And he talked about the 7-year cycles of change as we grow as people. And a successful long-term marriage, covenant relationship, has to be able to withstand those cycles as each person's growing. He says, when you're in your 20s, all the curves are in the right place, the skin is snatched, and everything. And that's what you look for in a mate, because that's who you are at that stage of your life. But by the time you're in your 80s, and if you're still married, or what you look for in a mate is someone who has all their teeth and they can drive at night. That's what's important to you in your 80s, right? Or your 70s. And we change. And he said that's where the 7-year itch comes from, and 7's year of completion, that full cycle. And you're a different person. You guys are in different places now. And if you're going to be in a long-term sustained marriage, there's times when you may not like your mate at all. You may be like, you know what? I don't like you at all right now. I don't want to be next to you. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want to be touched by you. We just need some space. But there's still a bond. There's still a love. There's a commitment that's between us while we grow through those phases and those stages together. But if we split up because we don't feel each other at a certain point, then that marriage is never going to last. It won't. And love will pay those bills while you're not liking your spouse, but you love them and you're still providing for them while they grow through their phase. And God is dealing with them separately while he's dealing with you, and he's dealing with both of you. And while they're growing and God is dealing with them, and you're making space for them to be repentant and get right with God so that he can take them, he's got his thumb on them, because pride comes before destruction. So they're getting destroyed and you're watching it and you're trying to help them, but you can't help them because God's dealing with them. You just got to love them and let them grow up and stay with them while they grow. And they got to love you and let you grow up and stay with you while you're growing too.
Boy, you preaching. Go ahead,
Well
James.
said. Well said.
All right.
I'm living it. I'm telling you.
I love that. And
How many years of marriage?
12.
12. Wow.
12.
A lot of wisdom.
We're going for 66 years. That's our goal. We're going to get 66 years of marriage. That's what we've said. So we're working on it.
Amen.
I love that as a goal. Beautiful. Well, I just want to say this. I appreciate your insight so much, James, Rashida, obviously Cash, and of course I appreciate Randall, but he's not here anymore. He had a technical difficulty. I appreciate everybody who's been in the chat. VJ from around the way, that's my girl. Love her. Hey, India, shout out to you. Thank you, Andre the Advocate, for your super chats. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. But before we go, we'll say the adult table prayer, which is everybody who's not an adult, who's not mature. That's really what I mean. And who's not open to mature thoughts, keep away from me. Amen.
Amen. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Black Jesus. Because it's Juneteenth week, so it's Black Jesus. Right. So I super appreciate you guys. Rashida, can you let the people know where to find you, what you have coming up?
Sure. I'm on Instagram. That's where I kind of stay in social media. So Rashida Welbeck on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Thank you again. Cash, where can we find you? What do you have coming up?
You can find me on Instagram as well. @ I am Cash, all one word. You can also follow my company, which is Black Mogul Collection on Instagram. And you can go shop with me too at blackmogulcollection.shop. We got men's stuff, women's stuff, kids stuff, accessories. Come shop with us. Support a Black owned business and Black designer as well. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Cash. And James.
Hey, you can find us at Angel Tech. That's Angel with a J, Tech. And go out to www.angel.live and get Angel Tech to protect you and your loved ones in your life. Because it's pronounced live, not live, because you deserve to live. We are designed to help you live and to be free and to be fulfilled and to make all those life's milestones that your creator created you to achieve and not have stolen from you through injustice. And that's what we're about. And so go out to angel.live, check us out, and follow and subscribe to us at Angel Tech.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys so much. As you know, and as the people, well, you'll find out if you don't know, but everybody who's watching, all the subscribers, this is my therapy. My path to the revolution, or my contribution, is being a civil litigator, being a social justice advocate. So there's days and there's weeks where it's very, very tough. It's not a situation where, you necessarily have an outlet We do have a very strong network of attorneys that now I would say, like in the last 2 or 3 years, we've talked about and discussed, our own personal mental health, because obviously we're dealing with a lot of, heavy issues, systemic oppression, loss of life, and families that are grieving. And so this, to me, the adult table is like is part of my therapy. So I appreciate it so much, you guys being here. I genuinely, really, really do. Because with every episode, it kind of lifts my spirits and gives me the little boost I need to get through the rest of the week until we're back. So I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate PM Channel. I appreciate you, Linda Bess and Shank Rock. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'll see you not next week, but the week after that. Thank you, Blondie. Thank you, Derica. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.
Thank you, Sue Ann.
Bye.
Let's go shy.